Thank you. And first, I want to say forthrightly that the report, which I had the pleasure to read over the last week, that CGD and Social Finance have put together, is really a first-rate document. Lays out, I think, quite well what the issues and challenges are in this nascent space of development impact bonds, and one that I think will be a further aid and assist as this product and this marketplace matures and develops. I want to make a friendly suggestion to my colleagues, Toby and Owen, with regard to the PowerPoint presentation. I noted that the slide that I'm standing next to now references heaven. And as someone who represents an organization that works with investors who are inherently risk averse, the problem is what they have to do to get there. So my suggestion would be, when you do this again for investors, it probably should be hell and nirvana or something. Just a friendly suggestion in that comment. But I do want to talk about investors particularly and the role of investors in this very important development. At the Global Impact Investing Network, which I represent, there are some 200 institutional investors, from foundations to development finance institutions to pension funds to sovereign wealth funds to pension funds to financial service companies, that have all coalesced around improving the practice of impact investing and creating the infrastructure necessary to support the growth of this space. And this is a group of investors who very much look with interest on the social impact bond innovations and very much look with interest on the development impact bond corollaries. I think that the slide that said that there is significant investor interest in these products is absolutely right, because at the heart of it is the proposition that there is an innovation play. There is an effort to improve the performance of the delivery of social services that is very exciting to a wide range of investor types. Having said that, I wanted to spend just a few moments talking about the kinds of investors who are perhaps likely to be interested in this DIBS effort in the early stages, and those who may be interested as the market matures, and also just to highlight what I think will be consistent concerns that you will hear from investors as they consider these opportunities going forward. The first group, and I think the report itself states this very clearly, that's likely to actually be the pioneers that step forward in the development impact bond space, as was the case with social impact bonds, are the philanthropically minded investors. Foundations, development finance institutions in the case of DIBS, and high net worth individuals who've been very key and important to the evolution of this space. These will be some of the best prospects for some of the DIBS prototypes. But it won't stop there, because the opportunity to broaden this market, particularly as we develop the maturity of the market, will extend to multinational corporations who have operations in various developed markets, and a wide variety of institutional investors for whom these opportunities become particularly interesting as the market is proved and demonstrated. But the interest of the initial group will be clearly important in assuring that there's a track record established that makes the possible entry of other investors with more commercial focus, less philanthropic focus, central to the success and scaling of this activity. So what are the areas that I think we have to be very careful about? And I'm quite sure that the people at Social Finance, as at CGD, are very aware of this. But I thought for the basis of the discussion for the organization, I'd just lead off by saying there are probably 3 areas of concern to investors. And it doesn't matter whether the investors are philanthropically focused or commercially focused. They'll be consistently areas of interest throughout. And interestingly, these issues are as relevant for development impact bonds as they are for social impact bonds. There are just varying degrees. The first is the quality of management of the NGO or social enterprise that is the service provider that leads the intervention strategy is key. In essence, the investors are betting on a quality team that knows what it's doing and can demonstrate it clearly and with data. I think that is the heart of the value proposition of both social impact bonds and development impact bonds from an investor perspective. The second is, frankly, the quality and the integrity of the data that the process relies on. And quality is one descriptor, integrity is the other. This is particularly true in environments where we're working in fragile states and fragile economies, where the credibility of data will be called into question and the ability to be assured that the data can be relied upon, and in fact, reliable data here equals investable data, is extremely important. So that, I think, is the second area of investor interest, which we will have to really be very focused on going forward to ensure that that is well managed and well developed. And then finally, and you might think this is more an issue in the DIBS context than in the social impact bond context, but I don't think it is, and it's the perceptions of investors around political risk. Again, going back to the fragile states, one of the innovations of the development impact bonds being that the outcome funder, of course, is not the government per se, but really being able to help investors understand how the political risk specifically, is mitigated in these transactions, which I think the basic outline and the basic structure of these bonds goes a long way to do in their early stage. I say it's important in the development bonds as well as the social impact bonds because we've seen, even in developed markets in the United States where social impact bonds are increasingly picking up traction, in the UK, that issues like appropriation risk from a local or state or federal government really becomes very key to whether investors at the end of the day feel that this is an investable proposition that they can have confidence in and therefore can invest in. So those are three areas, and I know that a number of investors and potential investors in this room, so it would be interesting to get your take and your perception on what are the things that are most important in your getting clarity around in order to consider these kinds of opportunities. But at the GIIN, we are convinced that this is a space that has lots of opportunity. We are happy to be associated with the development and the organizations that have pushed the development of these instruments. We are convinced of investor interest. And we emphasize again that the quality of management, the integrity and the quality of data, and mitigation of political risk are, I think, the crucial variables to making these ultimately accessible to and attractive to the cohort of institutions that make the success possible. So thank you very much.